Hey everybody, I'm Carl with Nitro Gear and Axle, and I'm here today to show you one of our products that we offer that's a little outside of our normal gear and axle product range, which is our upper control arms. We had been offering control arms for the 100 series Land Cruiser for over 10 years, but we've decided that we would revamp the line and change a couple features as well as add in a bunch of the other Toyota applications. So we now have them for 4Runner, FJ Cruiser, Tacoma, Hilux, 100 series Land Cruiser, 200 series Land Cruiser, Lexus GX, and shortly to come would be Toyota Tundra. We do these with a additional caster built into it. When you lift the truck, it does change the suspension geometry, and you sometimes have a hard time adjusting enough caster when doing an alignment. And the problem with that is you can have wandering and just not real great driving characteristics, especially on the highway. These have 3 degrees additional caster built into them. So with the factory cam bolts, there's plenty of adjustment to get the vehicle aligned properly. We've seen some other arms that have eccentric ball joints and things like that to try to give more alignment range, but we don't feel that's necessary, and it definitely compromises the reliability and the strength of the arm. These have been tested to be 6 times stronger than a factory stamped steel arm. I mean, you can see these are hollow. I could probably bend it in this vise right here. But some of the things that are great about a factory arm is they use a sealed ball joint, and they use these nice rubber bushings, which last a really long time, and they are smooth and quiet. They don't squeak, and you don't get a lot of feedback from the road in the steering wheel. So what we've done with these is we built in the additional caster, the extra strength by using a thick wall tubular design that's gusseted, but then we've also used a ball joint that's sealed. Some of the other arms that are out there use an exposed joint that, while maybe strong and may work for desert racing scenarios, is not ideal for daily drivers that drive on the road with de-icer and snow and rain and mud and everything else, and they're just constantly squeaking, and it doesn't take long before the Teflon lining's worn out because there's nothing sealing out the elements. So these have a cap that's on here. Underneath there's a Zerk fitting. You can see that one difference between the factory ball joint and ours is these offer a lot more misalignment, and what that does is it allows the arm to droop a lot further for the longer aftermarket shocks. You'll see that a lot of the major shock manufacturers spec shocks that are longer and require an aftermarket upper control arm to be able to run them, and that's what these are for. But you can run them with stock length shocks. You can run them on a stock vehicle, but you wouldn't see the benefit of the additional droop in the suspension unless you were running longer shocks. This particular model is for the FJ Cruiser, as well as the 03 to 09 4Runner, and Lexus GX 470. We have an 07 FJ Cruiser, aka the Prune, in here that we are going to be installing them on with some Old Man Emu suspension. Since this Old Man Emu suspension is their base level, it's not a longer shock than stock, so we're not going to really benefit by a drastic increase of wheel travel with these arms, but we are going to see a huge benefit with the caster. And this thing was all over the road. The factory ball joints are already worn out, and it's actually not that much more to replace them with these than it is to replace the factory arms. So here's the truck we're working on, 2007 FJ Cruiser. We see these a lot. I mean, it's just a aftermarket coil spacer. The guy who had this truck bought it like this, but it's definitely worn out. Shocks are bad. It's all over the road. The bushings, the ball joints are loose. So we're going to go ahead and put the Old Man Emu suspension in it.